Hello there, wrestling fans. Welcome to Canadian Wrestling Week on the internationally known Dudes at Ringside podcast. I'm your host, Joe the Panther, the third. And man, Canadian Wrestling Week, man, so many awesome wrestlers from Canada that have made their name in the wrestling, American wrestling scene and the wrestling scene itself. But today, fans, we have an awesome young lady that is good. Is like she's getting there. She's like here to help and represent her Canadian wrestling brother. And let's give a warm Dudes at Ringside welcome to Katrina Creed. Welcome, Christina. Welcome.
Yeah, no, Katrina Creed here. I'm super, super happy to be here. Thank you so much for having me. And I feel really honored that I'm like the first proper Canadian wrestler that will be featured.
Yes, I'm excited because like we've been talking since like what since last year, trying to work on something and stuff like that.
Yeah, like yeah, been a few months, I'd say, beginning of this year. But it's finally happening, which is awesome.
Yes, I'm excited. So, if our internationally known fans are not familiar with you, and why would they not be? Introduce yourself.
Geez, I don't really know where to start. So, I mean, as mentioned, my name's Katrina Creed. My worker name. I started having matches relatively, hasn't been too long, I'd say. It's just been maybe the past like 5 or 6 months that I started wrestling more regularly. I had been training a bit before. Actually, I started around late 2018. I started having matches right before the pandemic. And then, of course, the pandemic happened, put a stop to that, and kind of put everything at a standstill for myself and everyone else. And then I just didn't continue wrestling when things started opening up in Canada around 2021, I'd say. And I only started training again back in like May of 2022 is when I started again. Yeah, so I've been training for a bit, haven't been actually wrestling for that long. I think in terms of actual career matches, I've had about between 20 and 30, I'd say. But yeah, otherwise, I've been wrestling mostly across Quebec. I started breaking into Ontario recently. I'll be actually at a claim this Saturday in Ottawa, which is one of the bigger feds in Ontario. So I'm really excited about that. Um, Other than that, I don't know what to say. Who have I been trained by? Yeah, I think I should name drop these
Okay.
guys because they're doing pretty well for themselves. So currently, my coach is Shane Hawk. But as well, I was trained by Speedball Mike Bailey, who a lot of people know, who's an incredible wrestler, one of the best in the world right now. Was super. I feel super honored and privileged to have learned from him. He has a great wrestling mind, understands psychology, how to build a match, really top tier. So I learned so much from him, and I feel really like privileged to have been able to learn from him. And I also was trained by Matt Menard in the Jericho Appreciation Society. So he was actually my first trainer when I started off. He was my formative trainer. And he also taught me so much about just being really charismatic in the ring, how to do promo work. Well, at least he gave me ideas anyway. And just that intensity that I tried to bring in the ring was definitely, taken from him. So I guess that's the gist of me for now.
Awesome. So like let's go back to when you first what was your mind like when you the first time you sat and like walked into your like training your for your very first day of training. What was your going through your mind? What was like your energy like that day?
I was super, super nervous. I think a lot of people are when they try something, especially something like wrestling, which gets a bad rap, and understandably so in terms of how dangerous it could be. It's definitely not easy. So I was super nervous about that. And I honestly thought I wasn't going to like it. I told myself, I'd give it a try because it's something I've really been interested for a very long time. Uh, and I'll see if I like it, but I kind of felt after my first class, I wouldn't like it so much because there's been a lot of things in my life where I'm like, oh, I try it and I kind of lose interest after the first class or realize it's not for me, even though I think it's cool. And so that was kind of my thinking when I went to the first class, but I'm like, who knows? Right. And after the first class, I loved it. I was actually surprised by how much I cared about it right away. And it's just been something inside of me that hasn't really stopped. Even the time that I took off, it was primarily because of like some kind of neck issues, nothing serious that I have. But I thought maybe I should put my health first, whatever. And the pandemic kind of gave me time to like step back and think about it. But even during that time, I would just think about it so much. So yeah, I guess from the first day onwards, I was just like, I just had this fire, and it's something I just started thinking about all the time from then on up until now. It's just all consuming for me.
Wow. Like, it's hard because, like, if there's stuff that you have that you wanna do and you don't wanna be, like, stuck in doing something, you love your wrestling, even though with your neck problem, you still stuck in
Mhm.
there and still kept going. Like, so let's flash a little forward. What was your, like, energy like for your very first match?
Ooh, my very first. Super, super nervous, right? I think every wrestler for the most part, even if they've been doing it for years and years, either the day of or at least a couple of hours before their match, or perhaps right before, we all get nervous, like super, super nervous. So, for my first match, I was really, really nervous. I thought I was gonna like puke.
Mm,
Um, and yeah, so I mean, I think I kind of still feel that way even before every match, just about, although it's not like a full day thing anymore. It's like maybe a few hours before or an hour or two before my match. But yeah, I was just super, super nervous.
mm. So when you like for you, uh what is it like the week of a wrestling show? What is like your training regimen? What do you like? What do you do to get yourself all ready for that week before a show?
Yeah, so I usually have matches every weekend, sometimes twice in a weekend. So um, I pretty much always have the same regimen week by week. And typically, what I do is I'll usually train in Muay Thai kickboxing for usually once or twice a week, depending. And that's really great for cardio and just conditioning in general. It really helps me in the ring when I do matches so I don't get blown up. It's been really excellent for that. I will usually also go train at a wrestling dojo once a week as well. So usually I'll go and do that on Thursdays, and we'll do different drills. We'll do different types of conditioning as well, just reps of different things. And as well, I'll usually do like two sessions of strength training as well. So usually what I do is like compound exercises. So I'll do like 3x10s of like the big five, like bench pressing and overhead or push pressing, squats, deadlifts, and rows.
Mm,
Of like moderately heavy weights, like I'm moderately meaning, like say for example, rows right now I'm at 90, and like bench presses right now for 3x10s I'm at 75. And then on another day I'll do compound exercises as well, but I'll do 3x5s but of heavier weights. So pretty much the same exercises, but just of much heavier weights, essentially. I try to also, although this has been a bit harder, just because there's not enough days in the week, but I also try to go to the gym because this all of these strength training exercises I do at home because my boyfriend and I built a gym at home during COVID. But I do try to also get to the gym and do more isolation exercises for the upper body and lower body as well by using the machines there. Um, but I never have time.
mm,
I try, but it's really difficult. So that usually doesn't happen. I'm not going to lie. And I try to do yoga every other day just to kind of reduce the wear and tear that's brought on by wrestling.
mm. So, with you going to different places when you wrestle, what is like your favorite go-to after wrestling snack? Like, what are you craving all the time?
Oh gosh, I don't know. I try to be healthy and I try to like meal prep and pack my own stuff. And sometimes that'll suffice. But I don't know if I really have like a go-to thing. It's kind of whatever I brought. And usually, I'm not gonna lie, when we finish a show, uh, a lot of us usually kind of have this feeling of like something salty and greasy like pizza or whatever. So if people are going for that and I'm with them, 100% down. Um, but yeah, I don't know. I don't really have a go-to, honestly.
Mm. Do you collect anything?
Not really, but my boyfriend does. As you can tell, behind me right there, just a shit ton of wrestling figures. So yeah, this is kind of like a wrestling and gym room. So there's just wrestling figures there. There's also some wrestling figures up there too, you can see.
Mm.
And that's not even like a tenth or a 20th. My boyfriend has, I maybe I'll send you pictures another day of the rest of our house. There's literally hundreds and hundreds of like different figures that my boyfriend collects. He's definitely more the collector of the
Oh
two.
wow.
I'm very minimalistic. I don't really have too much. I don't really buy too much. That's definitely more his thing for sure.
Mm. So if you had a dream match that you had in your head of any female wrestler from the like current indie scene in Canada or America that you would like to wrestle, that'd be a top 5. Who would they be and why?
Oh, like a top five in total? Okay.
Yeah, like people that you would
Um,
wanna wrestle that you haven't had a chance to get in the ring and take throw one down with them yet.
right, on the indie scene specifically, right?
Yeah, yeah, yeah. Or
Okay.
it could be a little both. It could be like a forbidden door. It could be like,
Okay.
yeah,
Yeah, no, for sure. I actually was talking about this like a few months ago with some people I train with, and I really love Jody Threat, who is a wrestler from around here who actually recently got signed to Impact. I was saying this right before she got signed, before I even knew. And rightfully so that she got signed. She's really, really good. She has
yeah.
this great intensity to her. She's so like brutal in the ring, and her stuff looks so crisp. And I just really like chicks that like are hard hitting and have that intensity that bring that realism to matches. I think it's really important to me, and I think it's super important to have in matches. Otherwise, it kind of takes me out of it a bit. And she definitely has that intensity level. She's someone I've been wanting to face, and I'm hoping to eventually uh, get to face her. Absolutely, I think she's just phenomenal, honestly.
Mm,
So she would definitely be up there. If we're kind of also just going in general, not so much on the indie scene, I love Rhea Ripley. I think
mm,
she's honestly one of if she isn't right now, she's definitely on the way to become one of the greatest wrestlers, like, period. She's not even like girl or guy. I just think she's so good at everything she does. She's so good at selling moves. She's so good again at the intensity too. She just has this great aura about her that I really respect. So if I could, that would be,
mm.
I would get decimated, but it would be amazing. I'd be so for it. I just think she's excellent.
I
Um,
think I know a person that you would be
us,
good against because you do Muay
mm,
Thai and submission moves. It would be,
yeah.
Nikita. Nikita.
Oh, yeah. I think she's actually she's going to be at the show at Acclaim this Saturday in Ottawa. And so she's from the Toronto area, if I'm not mistaken, but she's going to be there this Saturday. I
Tell
don't
her
know
I
when her
say
matchup
hi.
is. I don't know if it was announced just yet. I absolutely, yeah, I definitely
Tell her
will.
you came on the
But yeah,
podcast and tell yeah, yeah. Definitely
what's
tell her
that?
Joe Panther says hi and you came on the podcast.
Yeah,
You'll be able to send her the YouTube channel and be like, "Look where I was a few days ago. Look at that."
yeah, for sure. Absolutely.
Um,
Yeah, it's gonna be my
yeah.
first time meeting her, but I'll definitely drop that for sure.
She looks really cool. She seems really nice. Like, I've seen a lot of her matches because, I'm in America. You'd think, like, a lot of American wrestling fans don't get a chance to venture over and watch other wrestling from different countries. But me, I'm
Hmm.
I'm worldly, so like I don't just I say I love my indies, but my indies just doesn't stay in Pennsylvania, New York, and New Jersey and Connecticut. Mine has a rocket ship. Mine has a spaceship. Mine goes around the world. Like
Nice.
indies to me is like, I have friends that just watch
Yeah.
a Pennsylvania scene and they go, "Man, Joe, you love the Indies." Yeah, I have it on my jacket, but mine would say, "I love the world of the Indies." Like
Yeah,
everybody's.
God, there's so much great talent there, Like
Yeah.
I every time like I'm on Instagram or whatever, I see these different reels of these different performers and what they do, and I'm like, holy crap, like people are really taking it to the next level. And there's so much great talent there that's or like been undiscovered up until now. There's just a wealth of people out there. It's pretty amazing to see for real.
Yeah. It's amazing. It's absolutely, I find it absolutely amazing that these, back when I was back when I was a young Panther at 18, I never thought that I'd be able to go on my cell phone and just look up a wrestler, or have wrestlers contacting me to talk to me about
Hmm.
their lives and their careers. So my last question: if there was a young
Hmm.
wrestler watching this interview or listening to this interview, and they needed advice on like what to do to get themselves like more well known, or like for any way of training, what kind of advice would you give them?
Oh, to get more well known? I mean, I'd
Or
ask them if they have any
just to get
ideas.
themselves
'Cause,
to like be I meant like to get like not to well known, just like what kind of advice would you give them if they're like new and they don't know where to turn and what to do? So there you go.
right. Fair. I think one of the most important things, if someone really wants to try to get into wrestling, for example, one of the most important things you can do would be obviously to find a reputable school, but especially people who are well trained and can train you how to take things properly, how to take care of your opponent, which I think is really important too, to not injure anyone. But also, if they really want to make it, I mean, I think ideally they'd want to find someone or a school that has trainers that have connections to the industry somehow, or coaches that are on TV or have been on TV, right? And that's not really something I thought about when I picked the IWS dojo, which is where I'm training at right now. I just picked it because I knew Andrew, who's Shane Hawk. Uh, but it worked out that every coach I had has connections to the industry somehow. Either they're in big promotions like Big Magic right now, or Daddy Magic is in AEW. Speedball is an Impact right now. And Shane Hawk, Andrew, he has a couple of connections to WWE, but that puts you in a really good position, right? So if you really want to make it, uh, definitely look for people who might have connections to the industry, right? Wrestling, as with everything, is all about connections in the end, among other things, of course, but it is what it is. So I guess that would be my biggest piece of advice. And also just to look and have fun, while you're doing it and enjoy the ride.
Awesome. I would like to thank you so much for finally coming on the podcast. I really
Well, thank
appreciate
you.
it. And it's so awesome to know that I have people from Canada that are really looking forward to talking to me. Please tell your
Yeah,
wrestling friends. Please tell the promoters. Please tell everybody that you're going to be around in the few weeks from that show you told me about. Before we go,
absolutely.
please tell our fans where they could find you, and any shows that you have coming up.
Yeah. So yeah, you could find me. You see my little Twitter handle there at Katrina Creed. That's my Twitter handle. If not, on Instagram, you can find me at cat.creed. For shows, I mean, I literally have bookings almost every weekend, sometimes twice a weekend from now until mid-August. So in a lot of places, primarily in Quebec and Ontario, but the next few shows, this Saturday, I will be at Acclaim in Ottawa, Ontario. If anyone else can be there, I'll see you there. I luckily have the weekend after off, which will be nice to rest for a bit, and then I'm back at it. I have XZW, which is a federation in Quebec. And then after that, I'll be going to Kingston, Ontario again for Chinlock Wrestling on July 8th. So that's it for the next few weeks. But yeah,
All right. Thank you so much for coming on the podcast.
thank you.
I'm Joe Panther the Third,
I'm Katrina Creed. Wrong way. Here we go.
and we will catch you in the next one.